Thank you, Mary. It's great to be back.
I have a 24-year-old son who campaigned very safely and was very inspired by your message. He graduated from Simpson College on a year-and-a-half ago with honors.
Congratulations.
And he's still struggling to find a full-time job. And he and many of his friends are struggling. They are losing their hope, which was a message that we inspired them with. Could you speak to that? How you would speak to the young men and women in our country who are struggling to find a job, and speak to that message of hope?
Well, you know, I was in Madison, Wisconsin yesterday, and we had about 25,000, mostly young people, come out. And it was a terrific reminder of the fact that young people still have so much energy, so much enthusiasm for the future. But they're going through a tough time. Look, this generation that is coming of age is going through the toughest economy of any generation since the 1930s. That's pretty remarkable. Most of us, in fact, I'm just looking around the room, I think it's fair to say nobody here remembers the economy of the Great Depression. So the worst economy we had gone through, maybe one, maybe a couple, but you guys look really good for your age, though. So, but for most of us, you know, the worst we had seen before was the 1981 recession, the 1991 recession, and then the recession in 2001. This recession had more impact on middle-class families than those other three recessions combined in terms of job loss and how it's affected people's incomes. So that's going to have an effect on an entire generation. It means that they're worried about the future in a way that most of us weren't worried when we got out of college. Now, here's the good news, and I've said this to young people. I think that this generation, your son's generation, is smarter, more sophisticated, more passionate, and has a broader worldview. I think that they don't take things for granted. They're willing to work hard for whatever they can achieve. I think they think about the community and other people, and they don't just have a narrow focus on what's in it for me. When I meet young people these days, I am very impressed with them. I think they are terrifically talented. And so their future will be fine. But in the short term, what I'd say to them is that, first of all, we're doing everything we can to make sure that they can get the best education possible. One of the things that we did this year that didn't get a lot of attention was we were able to change the student loan program out of the federal government to save about $60 billion that's going to go directly to students in the form of higher grants, reduced loan burdens, debt burdens when they get out of college. It's going to make a difference to them. So we're going to do everything we can to make sure they can succeed educationally. Number two, obviously we're doing everything we can to grow the economy so that if they've got the skills, they're going to be able to find a job in this new economy. And as I said, we've seen private sector job growth 8 consecutive months now. The economy is growing, it's just not growing as fast as we'd like it. Partly because there's still some headwinds. We had some overhang because of all the problems in the housing market, and the housing market is a big chunk of our economy. All that excess inventory of houses that were built during the housing bubble, they're getting absorbed, and slowly that will start improving. So the expectation is that although we're not growing as fast as we can, if we're making some good choices about providing small businesses tax breaks and helping to shore up the housing market, that over the next couple of years you're going to start seeing steadily the economy improve. And if young people like your son are prepared, if they're focused and equipped, they're going to be able to find a good job. In the meantime, what we've also done is made sure, for example, that your son can stay on your health insurance until the age of 26, which, because of healthcare reform. And that is going to relieve some of the stress that they're feeling right now. And then finally, what I tell your son is that we're trying to make some tough decisions now so that by the time he has his own son or daughter, that we are back to #1 in research and development, back to #1 in the proportion of college graduates, back to #1 in terms of innovation and entrepreneurship, that we have succeeded in creating a competitive America that will ensure this 21st century is the American century, just like the 20th century was. But it's going to take some time. And so the main message I have to young people, in some ways this generation may be less fixed on immediate gratification than our generation was, partly because they've seen some hardship in their own families and in their own